O Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in a state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. And the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. And the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all other sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Bajra Samaja, Bajra Samaja, Bajra Samaja. protectors of all sentient beings without exception, deities who vanquish the ruthless hordes of Maras, knowers of everything as it is, Bhagawans and your retinues, please come here. Argyam Padyang Pushpe Tupe Aloke Gende Nivede Shabda Pratija Soha. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure realm. Whatever slight virtue that may have been gathered through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and beseeching, I now dedicate to complete Bodhi. Namo to the Guru, the complete purity of phenomenal existence. I make offerings to you who manifest in the ground of phenomenal existence and supplicate you for the total liberation of the three realms. Grant your blessings of dredging samsara from its very depths, Lord, which fulfilling gem, ornament of my crown, beyond word and expression is still victorious mind, endowed with the five superior primordial wisdoms, epitome of love, the one with kindness, precious protector of wandering beings, I supplicate you in the innate state of my mind. Bless me in the state of suchness. Grant your blessings for realizing this primordially birthless and completely pristine mind as the Dharmakaya beyond thought. Please go to near Nipa's text. Page 5 of near Nipa's text. At the bottom of page 5, to be liberated from the sufferings of samsara, generate the motivation thinking. I go for refuge in the three jewels and will practice the meditation and recitation of Bhagavan Vajrasattva. You are the idam above your head on a full moon. This Ahung and Vajra instantly transform into Bhagavan Vajrasattva. His exalted body is white like the peak of a snow mountain, touched by the rays of the sun. His legs are crossed. With his two hands, the right holds a vajra at his heart, and the left holds a bell resting on his hip. He is adorned with various jewel ornaments. At his heart center, in the middle of a moon, this is a hung surrounded by the 100-syllable mantra. From this Hong light rays emanate, clearing the obscurations of sentient beings. Stream of elixir are invoked from the hearts of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They dissolve into the Hong. From there, a stream of elixir descends, flows through his body. Emerging from the tip of his big toe, the stream enters the crown of your head, and all the collections of misdeeds, obscurations, and transgressions from beginningless samsaric lifetimes are washed away like dirt by water and exit from the lower orifices of your body. The stream of elixir fills you from below, swirling upwards. Then, focusing on the Hong surrounded by the mantra at the heart of the Bhagavan, recite the mantra. Om Bhadra Samaya Vajrabhame Mujam Vajrabhama Samaya Santo A Vajra Sato Samaya. Vajra Sato Samaya Manupalaya Baja Sato Teno Padeta Dido Memo Sudokaya Memo Subokaya Memo Memo Sabased Memo Jasavakama Sucha Mejeram Jarangoro Zavatagata Bazamanga Jampazaboma Mahasamaya Sato. Top of page 8. I am ignorant and bewildered. I have transgressed and broken my samayas. O Guru Protector, grant me refuge. The Bhagavan grants his ascents. You should then have faith that he responds with. Child of the family, your broken samayas, negativities, and obscurations are clear. Finally, the Bhagavan dissolves into you, becoming inseparable from your own body, speech, and mind. Rest in meditative equipoise on the meaning of the union of appearance and empty. Page 10. Now we visualize the recipients of our mandala offering in the space in front. Om Bhadra Bhumi Ahung in its center. Imagine that upon an excellently arranged seat sits the Guru in the form of Vajradhara, the embodiment of all Buddhas. In front, imagine that upon an excellently arranged seat sits the host of Idam deities. To the right, imagine that the Buddha jewel is seated there. Behind, imagine that the Dharma jewel is there. To the left, imagine the Sangha jewel seated there. At the bottom of page 11, this ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O gurus, idams, and the noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and Noble Three Jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, Idams, and Noble Three Jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue As an offering, please accept them to you, Idam deities, and you, noble three jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, Idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountains, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, Idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, far continent, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, Idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, Idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. Page 13. Then at the end of the session, dissolve the field of accumulation into yourself and rest in the profound meaning of inseparability. Again, as a reminder, right? In Kyoba Rinpoche's way of explaining the practice and designing the practice, the emphasis is that what is in the so-called preliminaries actually reveals the most important aspects of training. So here, this preliminary of, on the one hand, clearing all the obscurations through Vajrasattva and bringing forth the qualities through mandala offering. This, in the end, is the definition of Buddha. The definition of Buddha in Tibetan, Sangye. Sangye is the word for Buddha in Tibetan, and Sangye is a compound of Sang. Sang is to clear, to clean, to purify, related to the word Sang offering. Sang is to clear, to purify, and Ge is to increase, to expand. So to clear, Buddhas are those who have cleared all obscurations and expanded all the Buddha qualities. So these two, on the kind of linear way of looking at things, which is how we have to relate to them, and since we live in linear time, you have step one, step two. But Kyoba Rinpoche also reminds us, the very act of removing the obscurations is the exposing, so to say, is the revealing of the qualities. Likewise, you could say, to be able to see the qualities, to be able to reveal the qualities, to be able to bring forth the qualities, is also the very act of relinquishing the obscurations. To relinquish the obscurations, some effort is needed. At least the effort to overcome the stubbornness of not relinquishing, not releasing the obscurations. So this is the same as, right, the greatest of pith instructions that Kyoba Rinpoche talks about. The greatest of pith instructions is the pith instructions that his mother gave to this neighbor who was suffering so much from the death of her husband. And so that at one point, Kyoba Rinpoche's mother said to this neighbor, so long as you're not willing to set aside, so long as you're not willing to relinquish the suffering that you're holding, then it will never leave you. It will always be there. So you have to relinquish. So the very act of relinquishing, at the beginning especially, takes effort, even feels forced. Not everything that feels forced is wrong. In fact, many things that doesn't feel forced often lead us to messy kind of unfolding of karma.
You're muted right now.
Okay, back. Yeah, nature of internet, nature of reality, unreliable. So where effort is needed, is usually We don't realize how much effort, how much of conspiring, how much of maintaining the kleshas, how much is we are feeding the kleshas, how much effort, how much contrivance is needed, that we often don't notice. And then when that contrivance fully manifests into 3 dimension, into quote unquote reality, then we are shocked at why the suffering turned up. But if we understand what effortlessness means, then we will begin to notice more and more how much effort we put into conjuring up samsara, maintaining samsara, defending samsara, parading around in samsara, celebrating samsara. So much effort. And so if we know how to simplify, to not bite the hook of samsara, and then the release of nirvana can be tasted, can be experienced. So these 2 preliminaries of Vajrasattva and mandala offering, it is to cleanse, to clear sang, it is to expand ye. In practicing both of these, we become sangye, we become Buddha. Then here on page 13, the second part, the special preliminary, has 3 sections: cultivating loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. As our precious Lord said, if the steed of love and compassion does not run for the benefit of others, it will not be rewarded by gods or humans. Attend earnestly, therefore, to this foundational attitude, beginning then with loving kindness. Let loving kindness be the basic space that we operate from. And so in that sense, maybe for most of us, we need to put some intentional attention to cultivating loving kindness. The first step of cultivating loving kindness is to learn what this loving kindness is to know what this emotion of loving kindness is, and to get good at being able to summon this whenever we want, whenever we need. Do you yet have the ability, like a magician, to summon this superpower? So this is a real superpower, metta. When you're feeling down, can you summon metta to pick you up? When you're feeling abandoned, can you summon metta to embrace you? When you are feeling annoyed, can you summon metta to pacify your annoyance? When you're feeling nothing in particular, kind of stuck, can you summon metta to push you, to exercise you? So metta has all these qualities. So please be good to yourself. Learn how to skillfully taste metta. Then learn how to be able to summon metta when you need it. So you need that first. Too many of us want to skip this step and, I want to feel compassion for the world. Yourself, you are in a mess. A mess that is unnecessary. That's the main point, right? A mess that is unnecessary. And so we don't know how powerful this magic is of metta. We neglect it. We have neglected self-care, wisdom self-care, wisdom-informed self-care, not a self-cherishing self-care, but a really wisdom-informed view of self-care, skillful self-care. Develop that. Grow that. No matter what Dharma methods you practice, if you really can see the purpose is to develop skillful self-care, wisdom self-care, then Dharma has become Dharma for you. Otherwise, Dharma is just another device to distract ourselves, to be derailed, to superficially have the appearance of a Dharma practitioner, but not really Dharma. Dharma just becomes another avenue for us to act out our kleshas. Dharma centers become drama centers. Dharma relationship. Okay, not always going to be, nice and beautiful and everything. Don't misunderstand and think, oh, it should always be like that. No. In fact, there was an anecdote I heard repeated a few places by different people. Most recently, I was watching one of these, terrible scrolling reels, right? It gets worse when they feed you Dharma reels and you think, oh, I'm doing something meaningful. Then 2 hours later, you're exhausted. You said, what just happened? Anyway, one of the reels, this one nun, I think she probably put some poetic license to her telling the story. Uh, she said she was a new nun, senior nun, uh, junior nun, sorry, joined the community, a big Buddhist organization. And monks and nuns, in Asia, okay, monks and nuns serve. In the West here, monks and nuns are so rare, so that when people become monks and nuns, they all expect to be served. Because here in the West, our only model of monks and nuns are our teachers. And we see how people serve our teachers. So secretly, we're like, ooh, when I become one of those, I should be served. In Asia, monks and nuns become monks and nuns so that they serve. They serve the Buddha Dharma. And because they are serving the Buddha Dharma, then on a day-to-day basis, they serve so many people in so many ways. So anyway, this nun, this reel I saw was a junior nun, and she said when she was a junior, when she first joined the organization, I think in Taiwan, and so she was assigned to kitchen duty. One of the things about as in Chinese Buddhism, Taiwanese Buddhism, to go eat at the monastery and nunnery is almost like a religious action. I think I see here Meima has some of this experience. I think Peter Waiting, these are people, my friends with Malaysia as our background. Uh, I think these days has become less because monasteries, nunneries cannot get volunteers. This is the sad part. Everywhere it's happening. Cannot get volunteers. But in the day when I was a teenager, so back when dinosaurs were still walking the earth, uh, part of like the religious activity is not just to go to the temple to make offerings to do this, but also to go eat, because the nunneries or the monastery provide vegetarian food, and so it's a virtuous act to at even just one meal, to not involve meat, and so or at least that's the excuse, like then you justify going to the eat at the monastery and the nunnery. And so anyway, this nun said, when he was a junior nun, so he was assigned to the kitchen and then told, okay, wash these potatoes. And so then she found a colander. Uh, she found a big bowl, and then she took some of the potatoes out, and then she said she uh, put water in it, and then and proceeded to wash each of the potatoes. And very soon, a senior nun comes over and say, "Oh my gosh, this is not going to work. No, 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 no. This is not how you do it, because it will take forever. You know how many people we have to feed? All the people that are coming to eat. And then the older nun said, look at those bags of potatoes. If you're going to wash it this way, how long is going to take? Yeah, yeah, here, I'll show you. And so then the older nun took a whole sack of potatoes uh, and just directly filled it with water, and shake and shake and shake. And then the senior nun says, and that way the potatoes will rub against each other, and they will get rid of the dirt when they are shaken together. So the lesson being, this big footnote. When I say, Dharma relationship, uh, uh, your fellow practitioners, uh, it's good to put together and shake and shake and shake, so that you can rub up against each other. So even when there are tensions, when there are difficulties, right, you have to understand it as this is the efficient way of removing each other's dirt, removing each other's obscurations. But don't be the potato that says, I'm going to go remove other people's obscurations. Rather be the potato that says, who can help remove my obscurations by hitting up against me? Again, if you're not skillful, then you want to be thinking, oh, let me be the bodhisattva potato. I'm going to go, knock other people's dirt off them. Doesn't work like that. Be a potato that appreciates, this other potatoes knocking into you. Mm. And this is not talking about becoming a doormat. This is talking about having the wisdom to recognize where are the advantages that you can take. Where are the advantages that you can take? And where are the opportunities you are losing in this work of removing these negative habits, relinquishing the defilements, the mental defilements, the afflictions, again and again. We need to be clear about that. We need to refine our intentions, purify our intentions. So first step, only practice dharma, only engage in virtue because you can see that is your best bet in avoiding suffering yourself. If you cannot see this principle working for yourself, it's not going to work with trying to help others. Doesn't work like that. Yourself. Wisdom, selfishness. You need to have that. Rather than fake altruism, fake compassion, where it's about image, an image that you want to live up to. Doesn't work. First and foremost, this is good for me. This is beautiful for me. When you can see that, then, you won't give up so easily. Otherwise, if it is based on fantasy, no matter how noble the fantasy, one of these days it'll come crumbling down because it's not matched with yourself having tasted the sweet taste of Dharma, the beauty of Dharma blossoming in our hearts. So please, work on that. Then on that basis, coming from metta, knowing how to make our lives, our actions of body, speech, and mind, to come from a place of beauty, of loving kindness, of goodwill, of friendliness, warmth. Then when we encounter suffering, genuine compassion can arise. Authentic response to compassion coming from a place of metta rather than coming from a place of, martyrdom. Some kind of noble idea of, I need to die for others. Not just as a concept, but rather genuine compassion. Then with that, wisdom shines even more clearly, more brightly. How can I really help? By taking the Bodhisattva path, by embarking on the Bodhisattva path. Page 19 gives us, a brief way of bringing forth the kind of compassion we're talking about. So when we see suffering, grounding ourselves in loving kindness, then when we see suffering, how pitiable are these mothers sinking in the ocean of samsara. And then the wisdom part needs to come in, yeah? Not just the emotion of feeling sad, feeling bad, but though they desire happiness, they engage in the causes of suffering and experience its results. This is not talking about superficial, short-term view of cause and effect, okay? Because if we only look at the short term, which is what most of us can see, only very short term, then certainly a lot of people who are suffering in the world today, we cannot see how they have created the causes of suffering as an exact. So this is not to be used as, as they say, victim blaming. That is a whole other thing. Don't get mixed up like that. This is talking about the big picture of cause and effect, and trust in that, that there is no there is no occasion of experiencing either happiness or suffering, unless the causes and conditions for them to manifest are there. And as for that, the causes always come from ourselves, and it manifests accordingly. Yeah? So maybe even better, as I've said many times, first, don't judge happiness and suffering yet. First, need to understand the bare workings of cause and effect. That is just causality playing out. That there is happiness and suffering, those are labels that we put onto whatever is simply just happening as as the unfolding of causality. And then, of course, we have a mind, and this mind prefers some things, doesn't like other things. Then labels of happiness and suffering turns up. So though they desire happiness, they engage in the causes of suffering and accordingly experience its result. So they are ignorant of the methods to relinquish suffering. As much as they don't want suffering, they don't know how to relinquish. And not being cared for by a sublime spiritual friend, a virtuous friend. Here, this virtuous friend or spiritual friend is actually talking about spiritual guide. In the Mahayana materials, they are often called spiritual friend, Kalyana Mitra, or virtuous friends. Then in secret mantra, they are called gurus. We're talking about the same thing. These are not, people that you pal around and say, oh, it's a friend. Very fashionable for people to say, oh, he's my teacher. He's also my friend. Doesn't work. You better be clear what you want this person to be, a friend or a teacher. In terms of dharma, you cannot have it both ways. You're just wasting your time, It's okay to be friends with the dharma teacher. It's good. Then be clear about that. But you can't have it both ways. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. Then, you know, so not being cared for by a sublime, virtuous friend, they are blind, like blind people without a guide. And then you say, and so I need to be that guide. But in order to be the guide, then again, I have to clean up my own mess. And the act of cleaning up my mess is the act of exposing, revealing my qualities. And those are the qualities that will attract the beings that have a karmic connection to you, that then you can help. On page 20, all enemies who bear hatred towards me, and all of us obstructors who would harm us, and the mandala of Mara, the dark forces that create disharmonious conditions and obstruct the attainment of liberation and all-knowingness, may all sentient beings as numerous as space, especially our Father and Mother, those not yet liberated from the ocean of suffering that is samsara, be liberated. Those not yet freed from the bondage of defilements, be freed. Those who have not yet found rest in the Shravaka vehicle or Pratyeka Buddha vehicle, be brought to rest, and those who have not yet fully transcended suffering I will lead them to completely transcend suffering through the Mahayana. This is aspiration, bodhicitta. Then action, application, bodhicitta on page 23. Until I reach the heart of awakening, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue for as long as I live. And from now until this time tomorrow, I will take into my experience this Mahayana profound path of the union of the creation and completion stages. The first part of creation stage is the practice of idam. The second part of creation stage is the practice of devotion to the Guru. As for the practice of idam on page 25, Kyopa Rinpoche said, if with one's body, the king of deities' exalted forms, the stronghold of the unchanging ground is not seized, the retinue of Dakinis will not assemble. And so, how do we seize this stronghold of the unchanging ground, which is, in other words, the Buddha nature? How do we seize it? How do we grab it? A very strong verb is used here. How do we seize? How do we grab? There's a sense of in this metaphor here, a king. So the king has to take power. The king cannot just, uh, that's many of us, how we kind of relate to life, and think that, oh, this is Buddhist practice, going around just, everything, it's fine. You think, oh, that's Dharma practice, not having preference. No, that's not. Then nothing will be accomplished. Samsara will remain, in other words. Because samsara is here because for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, we just, it's okay. That is actually, that kind of equanimity, not based on wisdom. That kind of equanimity is part of the prison department's program to keep you in. As I said, every time you think of jailbreaking, they introduce a new perk for living in this jail. Extra movie night, then pizza on movie night. Then we just coast along, yes, it's okay. And then uh, have the pre have the kind of appearance of being a Dharma practitioner, even like a Mahamudra. Oh, everything is just illusory. This is how samsara continues. So here you have to seize the unchanging ground. You don't become a king by just waiting. You have to take your power. And how do you take this power? This body, this form, as idam. So actions of body, speech, and mind has to align with that of a idam. And that, first and foremost, is relinquishing the 10 non-virtues, practicing the 10 virtues. Be decisive. Be firm about this. No amount of visualization tricks and hacks, can really help if you don't make sure that your body, speech, and mind activities actually align with your training, your claim, your belief that you are in the form of the idam, and that you will appear as an idam not only to yourself but to others. So this we need to seize. And this metaphor here of the Dakinis are like the queen and the concubine of the king. So unless you're a powerful king, you're not going to have a court where everyone is attracted to you and coming to you willingly. So you have to seize this body as idam. Then, of course, as with most of the Fivefold Mahamudra text, the idam given here is Jagasamvara, and specifically, Gyoba Rinpoche emphasizes that it's easy to practice the co-emergent Jagasamvara, meaning Lord and Lady together as a single deity. And then there's also the five deity Jagasamvara, plus add the four Dakinis. And then all the way to the 62 deity Jagasamvara Mandala. The second part of creation stage is to cultivate the Guru. So on page 33. If on the Guru, the snow mountain of the four kayas, the sun of devotion fails to shine, then the river of blessings will not flow. And how do we cause the stream of blessings to flow? By attending earnestly to the mind of devotion. And so we need to cultivate and accomplish the Guru as Nirmanakaya, Guru as Sambhogakaya, and Guru as Dharmakaya, and your very mind is inseparable from the Guru. Then with these together, these two aspects of creation stage, serving as the basis, as the container, and then we practice completion stage. Here first with signs, with characteristics, and here the sign or the characteristic is very simple compared to the more elaborate completion stage with characteristics that often involve the control of breath, the manipulation of energy, and then the different yogas, the different dharmas of Naropa. Here, the only sign, so to say, is the bindu, kept at the center, holding the bindu in the center, and moving this bindu as necessary from the heart, sinking it down to the navel, from the navel, pulling it up to the throat, and even pulling it up to the crown, and sinking it back down to the heart. These four nodes, these four places where energy tends to gather. And now we work on purifying these four places with the presence of the bindu, having different colors. When it's in the heart center, it's blue. When it's in the navel center, golden yellow. When it's in the throat center, red. When it's in the crown center, white. And all the while, keeping your appearance as idam. In the center of your heart is your Guru. always giving protection and guidance, inseparable from your own mind, from the nature of your mind. And in the center of the Guru is this Bindu, blue in color at first. Now, page 78. By the virtues collected in the three times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtues, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. Changchu Sem Cho Rinpoche Ma Ge Ba Na Ge Gu Chi Ge Ba Nyam Ba Me Ba Gong Ne Gong Du Bel War Shou. Okay, tatas.